Alex and Karen Moss had married in their early 20s and purchased a 17th-century stone-built house in Cirencester in the heart of the Cotswolds. Cirencester is a market town in Gloucestershire, England, 80 miles west of London. Alex was a builder and used his skills to renovate the 17th-century building. The couple were financially secure and also had the support of both their parents. After 2 years of marriage, Karen gave birth to a baby girl whom they named Carol Ann. 2 weeks after Carol Ann's 5th birthday, she tragically contracted meningitis and died a short time later. The once happy couple were now devastated and cut themselves off from family and friends, and the life that was once happy and contented has suddenly changed. Even if their friends did visit them, they had nothing to say, and the atmosphere was dark and bleak. They'd even given up their hobbies, as Alex would regularly play golf on Sundays and Karen would love to go horse riding on Saturdays, but that too ceased. Karen had even stopped going to church, as her faith was now shattered. The only time she went to church was to sit on a wooden bench, which was a short distance from their daughter's grave. Karen felt that she needed some sort of affirmation that Karen Ann was now in some form of heavenly existence and was being cared for. Karen's visit to the graveyard and the wooden bench became a regular event, where she would sit and mourn her loss. Karen had always believed in an afterlife and was now looking for some kind of sign that would offer her reassurance. 7 months after her daughter's death, an unusual incident happened at their home. Alex was always losing his car keys and would spend ages trying to recover his steps as to where he'd last put them down. One afternoon, as he was frantically searching, he asked his wife whether she'd seen his missing keys, and then both Alex and Karen went searching high and low for them. Then a sudden thought came into Karen's mind, and she walked over to a wooden shelf and looked inside the flour jar that sat on the shelf. She then put a hand in and extracted the car keys. They both looked at each other in utter amazement, because the flour jar that held the keys had been a gift from their daughter. Whenever the keys were left lying around, Karen Ann would always pick them up and place them into the flour jar for safekeeping. Karen did not know why she'd had that sudden urge to look into the jar, and neither of them ever, even inadvertently, had put anything inside it. Was this the sign that Karen had been looking for? And for the next few days, her hopes had started to look up, but the optimism did not last long, and over time, doubt and depression crept back into her life. One morning, a few weeks later, Karen was vacuuming the bedroom and noticed that something was not quite right. She then walked over to the dressing table and saw her daughter's floral makeup bag was sitting there open and full. Karen Ann had always been fascinated by her mother's makeup bag and what was inside of it, so Karen decided to buy her daughter her own makeup bag full of toy replicas of what was in her own bag. When Karen had used up her old containers, she would wash them and place them inside her daughter's now bulging makeup bag. The makeup bag was definitely not on the dressing table when she awoke that morning, and the last time she remembered seeing it was when she'd packed it up with her other toys and placed it in her daughter's bedroom after she had died. Karen then sat on the bed and wept. She could not bring herself to touch it and had to ask her husband to put it back into the daughter's bedroom. If this was a sign from her daughter, on this occasion, Karen had not accepted it. It only caused her more grief. On Easter Sunday, Karen was tempted to go to church, as she always used to do, but because her faith was now gone after the loss of her daughter, they instead took some flowers to their daughter's grave and stood there and held hands. Although it was a perfect sunny day, Karen was numb to the surrounding beauty and felt empty, wishing she were in a grave next to her daughter. The couple then made their way down a narrow pathway and did not notice an elderly lady approaching them from the opposite direction. And as she grew closer, she stopped and smiled at them and said, "What a beautiful daughter you have," and continued to smile. Karen felt her blood run cold and gripped her husband's hand tightly and could not bring herself to utter a single word. She just looked at the elderly lady as if she were crazy. The lady could see the strange expression on Karen's face and slowly peered around the side of Karen and said, "I cannot see her now," and looked puzzled. This caused both Karen and Alex to look around themselves, but found nothing before Karen said to the lady, "What does she look like?" The elderly lady was taken aback by Karen's strange behaviour and hesitated for a moment before continuing. She then proceeded to describe the young girl as tallish, young and pretty, with blonde hair tied back with a pink ribbon. She was wearing a pink jacket and white dress with pink stripes, along with white knee socks and shoes. The young girl had been skipping a few steps behind them, but then appeared to dart behind a headstone. The lady assumed she was playing a game with them and wanted the parents to look for her. But when the girl failed to reappear from behind the headstone, and the parents looked shocked by what she had told them, she had cause for concern as to what she had just stumbled upon. In a moment of clarity, the elderly woman suddenly realised that she must have seen a ghost, something which she had never before seen in her life. Instead of elation, she now regretted her observation and realised she had only caused distress to the couple. Karen stood there and openly wept, and when she could finally bring herself to speak, she said to the elderly lady that she had done them a wonderful service. It was the sign they were looking for, and now both had the will to move on with their life. When the couple arrived home, Karen realised it was rude not to have asked the elderly woman her name. Karen then went up to her daughter's bedroom and opened the wardrobe and took out the white dress with the pink stripes that had been her daughter's favourite dress. The dress was the exact same dress that the elderly woman had described in the churchyard. Karen finally had the sign she'd been looking for and was now certain she had not completely lost her daughter.